I'm going to be reviewing these movies, and I've put the best one on the top. So if you're into horror movies, definitely watch Men. And James is going to review this W.H. Auden Prose Volume 1, and we're eating pierogies with pomegranate. And James is having carrot juice and yam as well as that. I know it's not the healthiest, but...
Well, I think it's pretty healthy. Pierogies maybe not, but
the pomegranate's good. Yeah, the other stuff.
I think yams are very healthy, and
yeah,
pomegranate's probably healthy. The carrot juice is amazing. How many carrots would have gone into this thing?
Oh, lots. So I'm going to talk about the movies first, and then I'm going to put it over to you. So you may as well eat your food, and then you'll be ready for when it's your turn to talk about this. So we had well, you can see there's snow here, but
pretty good snow.
It's a break in the weather right now. It's nice, but
yeah,
it was cold.
Having a Chinook.
So I had a movie-a-thon, or well, TV in general. And the first one I watched was Minions: The Rise of Gru. It's the 1970s. There's an African-American hippie biker who escapes the police to hang out in Criminal Records, I guess a recording agency or something, a record place. She's a part of a supervillain team called the Vicious Six. An old white biker steals a Chinese zodiac amulet, which is a source of some kind of power. The white guy had battled many foes to get the amulet, just to be betrayed by Bell Bottoms, the African-American leader of the supervillain team. Gru shows up to interview for the opening in the supervillain group, just to be shot down for being a child. Gru sounds Russian, but his mom sounds German. The others in the supervillain group, the Vicious Six, are a Catholic nun, a French man with a lobster claw, a Viking, and I missed who the other ones were. The Wild Knuckles was the old white guy, and he seems, well, he kind of seemed to have Jewish kind of nose or whatever. I don't know what they're trying to go for here, but Gru's minion Otto traded the Zodiac amulet for a pet rock. Gru is kidnapped by the old white biker, and his crew of, it seems like South American men, who he's paying in knowledge and possibly money. The kid who had the amulet gave it to his uncle, an African-American biker. The three henchmen, that's the Wild Knuckles or whatever his name is, his henchmen, are beating up on the minions. A Chinese acupuncturist who knows Kung Fu rescues the minions. She agrees to teach him Kung Fu. The white biker has a Jewish-looking nose. The old guy decides to work with Gru after getting the amulet back from the African-American bikerman, and hitching a ride with him to San Francisco, the African-American woman gets the amulet back, so that's Bell Bottom. And at midnight, her and her crew are transformed into super powerful zodiac critters. She's a dragon, one's a cobra snake, tiger, mandrake, and a bull. Gru beats them and turns them to rats with the amulet's help. And I don't know, I was thinking that one of the Wild Knuckles henchmen, he seemed kind of gay. I don't know if they were meaning to go that way too. A British guy at Criminal Records agrees to work with Gru as his mad scientist at the end of the movie. The minions say por favor often, so are they Spanish? I don't know.
Yeah,
it really bothered me. There was so much focus on race in that movie that it's like, wow, this is a kid's movie? And why is that there? You know, anyway. Bonus feature postmodern minion. Claude has Andy Warhol hair. He makes art with food in his body. It's less than 4 minutes long. He's it briefly. He's replaced by a chihuahua scooting across a canvas. Claude becomes an accidental interpretive dancer at the end. So they're saying that modern art, chihuahua scooting across a canvas could do modern art and be the big thing.
Was it scooting with its bum across?
Yeah, exactly. And interpretive dancing, they don't like that either.
Yeah.
And the next movie, the next short was even worse. Minions and Monsters. And then I doubt anybody would want to watch the rest of the bonus features. There are outtakes and other crap. And honestly, it just wasn't wasn't what I hoped it would be. Lucifer season 6. Lucifer is on Earth as a man with a British accent who does not have native ancestry to the British Isles. He's a good guy and is getting ready to become God, as God has jumped ship. Lucifer has a daughter who has come back in time. There's a lot of conflict and stupid drama. Eventually, Lucifer realizes that it isn't his calling to become God. He's supposed to promote healing of the souls trapped in hell, so he returns to hell. Then, when the detective he loves dies, she joins him there to help him. There's been better shows that were based on comic books. Scare Me was a boring movie. I missed the ending and didn't care. Let the Wrong One In is an amateurish vampire movie from Ireland. Oh, but the box is so good on this one. I'll show you. That one. Isn't that great? It's drawn.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So they tried. Giles from Buffy is in this movie with as a Slayer.
I like Giles pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's pretty old now. So anyway, it's a vampire. Well, it happens. It's better than not being old when you know what's the alternative, right? It's a vampire movie for teenage boys. There's a lot of teen boy sort of humor in it. Like at one point, the one vampire was trying to get his wings to go out because his girlfriend had figured it out, and to become a bat. And he was trying and he just ended up farting. So that's the kind of humor you're in for with that movie. I nearly gave up on it several times, but ended up watching it right through. A remake might actually be successful. There were some good ideas there. However, as it is, the movie isn't worth watching. I know. Class, season 1. It was that's from 2017. It's a BBC production by the makers of Doctor Who. There's a group of teens who battle monsters. The main characters mention or allude to some American TV shows from the genre. The makers were obviously wanting to mimic this American type of show. The box says season 1, not series 1. The show most resembles Buffy the Vampire Slayer without the humor, which was the best part of the show. There are no characters as interesting to watch as Xander from Buffy. In Buffy, Willow has a crush on Xander, but he isn't into her. He's attracted to Buffy. Eventually, Willow gets over it, and she realizes she's kind of gay and ends up dating women instead. In Class, the main character is the Willow character. She's attracted to a man who turns out to be a prince from a different planet and happens to be gay, so they'll have no future together. In Buffy, the teens hang out with the librarian, Buffy's watcher, in the library where they are never disturbed, since no one at school goes to the library, apparently. This is funny all on its own. Yeah. In Class, the teens hang out with the prince's, Charlie's guardian and servant, who is also their teacher. The teacher isn't able to use weapons due to a creature in her brain, so she is forced into a position as a watcher of sorts. It seems like the makers were desperate to make the series diverse. They included a girl from African ancestry. She tells the other characters and the audience that she's 3 years younger than the others more than once. She has to, because the casting was so poor that she looks older, not younger than the other teens. Her character has been very studious since she has been accelerated into their class. She hasn't been given any lines to support the backstory. This character doesn't work. Unless the makers put the work in for her, she'll pull the group down. Charlie's boyfriend is also expendable. In Buffy, the 3 main characters were essential. In Class, only 2 of the main characters seem essential. The special effects are better in Class, but special effects have gotten better over the past 20 years. This story has potential, but falls short here. I wanted to mention there's an interesting backstory behind the 2 main characters, but without the humor, the only thing fun about the series is the theme song, which is catchy but doesn't fit the show at all.
I might have heard that one.
Yeah, it was a catchy theme song. The other one, Series 2 from 2021, is a great Brit comedy about a 3-timing man's death, and I don't want to give away the ending, so I'm just going to leave it there. And the family it created. It's excellent. No, it's not. That's a horror movie. Anyway, Men 2022 was possibly the best psychological thriller that I've ever seen, and that's the one that's on top. I love the part with her singing in the tunnel and with her own echoed voice. I love all the screaming that was shown but not heard. I did not love the repeated birthing, but I was so frightened by that point that it didn't matter so much. The art of that part was lost on me a bit.
The dogs went to cuddle with her. She was so scared. I think they sensed maybe she was scared.
Still, I'm willing to watch this movie again in later years to figure it out. Now, the birthing thing, I think it has something to do with the last character, the last person that you see in the film. That, and I don't want to give I can't say more than that, or it might give it away. Maybe I'll figure it out in later years, the rest of what it's supposed to mean, because this movie is worth it. I'm going to be haunted by this one for a long time to come. This was an excellent movie. Every person who's interested in horror movies needs to watch this. It is, I think that, like, it's from the writer director of Ex Machina, and so if you like that movie, you will like this one. Now, another thing to be said about Men, it's art. It's just art, and it's so awesome. I think that the makers of that movie did a better job than Lynch did in anything that he's done. It's incredible. I never would have expected to like this movie had I just seen the birthing scenes, because yuck.
So but when you say Lynch, you mean David Lynch of Twin Peaks?
I do, yes. Murders Season 1 from 2019. Unbelievable and uninteresting police drama. Now, that could be in part because I tried to watch that right after Men, which was so awesome. But boy.
Yeah, you mentioned that as soon as it...
Yeah.
Not soon, but about 10 minutes in.
Vienna Blood. That's from 2019. It's a PBS detective mystery TV show set over 100 years ago. The setting is beautiful. Such beautiful architecture. The opening sequence that begins each show is artful and offers glimpses into the mind of the show. The spiral staircase and other images are like glimpses into the dream state of the content of this show itself. This show is very well crafted. Vienna at that time is shown as a place with a lot of history and wealth, a place of science, but a place in transition where aggression is bubbling up. I find it interesting to see that the creators of the show chose to show violent images, but fogged out the image of a man's humping bum and a woman's breasts. This show is even better than Murdoch. It's awesome.
So it's from 100 years ago, like before World War I?
Well, it's set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's set in 1907 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
before World War I. Yeah, you got that right. It was very cultured. Richard Strauss. And,
yeah, it's great. It's definitely worth watching. And I mean, I'm a huge Murdoch fan, but this is even better. It's great. It's like Murdoch. You don't get the art really there. You know, it's not really a cultural experience, or you know what I mean.
It's borderline because they'll have Mark Twain. They'll have Tesla. They'll have Rudyard Kipling was on one recent one. So it's not necessary that you know who these folks are, but it lends a little bit extra if you know. I'd like to make a list of all the folks they've got. Not that many people could have visited Toronto. They're making it up.
Yeah.
Because Toronto wasn't nearly as big as it is now. I think Toronto is fourth biggest market in all of North America. So I think that'll be definitely behind New York and Los Angeles, presumably Chicago, probably Houston.
Yeah, I was so scared watching Men. I have to say, normally when I get that scared, I leave the room. Sometimes I leave the house. I'm so scared. When I was watching Men, I was that scared, but I didn't want to. There was so much to think about in the movie to try to, there's a bit of a mystery there in a way, and it's really psychological, so I didn't want to miss any of that, right? And so
but you did go into the kitchen.
I did, but I turned the movie off so that I didn't miss anything. Yeah, no, I just had to leave for a bit because it was that scary. But Anyway, oh, so good.
So you'd
But-
say it's 5-star, right?
oh, definitely.
And I can
5 out
say
of 5.
It's 5 out of 5 and 3 out of 3. It's a you've heard of Three Dog Night. It was a 3-dog movie.
Yes,
That's
they
scary.
all came to cuddle me.
Yes.
But anyway, this W.H. Auden, this is a thick book, very
It's
thick,
it's just
And-
short of 900 pages.
and there's 2 volumes in this set. And the only thing is the Ireland one in this one, yeah, or Iceland, sorry.
Iceland. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and
We'd
so
read that one.
yeah, that's the only one I've read out of here.
Yeah.
I kind of started going through, and then I was like, We went through all the poetry of Auden before this, and I went through that, and I enjoyed that. But the letters from Iceland, yeah, I enjoyed it, but it will take me longer to go through this. And James has went through this just now, so he's going to review it.
Yeah, I'd already a long time ago, 1982, gone through the poetry from Letters to Iceland. In some ways, he had letters to Byron, George Gordon Lord Byron, in there. So he wrote letters to Byron. Byron would have been long dead. I believe he died in something like 1824, something like that, fighting the Turks in Greek. Where was it? Missolonghi? Well, he actually wasn't fighting them. I think he caught some sort of illness, caught a chill. But he was in the process of fighting. And yeah, he was 37 years old. But in some ways, it's supposed to be light verse. It's like Byron. He talks about Byron, and he basically gets it right. Byron is, according to him, a master of light verse, and it might be the best stuff Auden did. When was it? I think it was in 1936 when he, 36 or 37, when he wrote up about this trip to Iceland. Much of it he would have written while he was there with a guy called Irish poet called Louis MacNeice, probably Louis MacNeice. And they don't. Some of the stuff they wrote together. Some they wrote for some things. Auden wrote them, and then for some things MacNeice wrote some. But it's actually the most entertaining travel book. The best part of it actually is a prose thing, at least the thing that pulled me through. And it's MacNeice pretending to be a woman, or yeah, I guess a woman, taking a horse trip through like around a glacier. I think it's called Langjökull. Excuse me, my mispronunciation. It just means long glacier. Langjökull. And it's hilarious. Like, it's just a group of women and girls heading up there. Well, I think, did they have a guide, a male guide? I can't remember. But it's quite funny. It reminded me a little bit of some of our adventures hiking this summer with all sorts of dangerous mountainous paths and things like that. But they've got horses. And so that's quite good. He has he traveled a little bit later on, maybe 1938, to China. In some ways, World War II started early. A lot of people think it started 39. But you know, the Japanese started early. A lot of people, it started with Pearl Harbor. No, they were messing around in China seriously. In 1937, the Spanish Civil War started. I believe 37 as well. I think that's really when World War II started. And this really puts it into perspective. This guy Auden was a sharp guy, real sharp, real smart cookie. Real sharp, but I'm telling you, he talks about, he thinks that, he's saying, a lot of people think poetry shouldn't be for preaching, but I think it's okay, it's good for lots of other things, but it's good for preaching as well. Okay, and I could take the preaching, but then these are his essays, and he keeps on saying, so he's in China, maybe 38, 9 years before was the great stock market crash, 29. And for the next almost 4 years, there was the Great Depression. And so he keeps on saying, even before he's in China, capitalism is dead. There's only two alternatives: social democracy and fascism or Nazism. And well, capitalism is still with us. You know, despite you got all sorts of stupid idiots useless idiots now, not even useful idiots at university, strutting around saying late capitalism, as though it's late and not lamented, like dead or something like that, or it's all on its last legs. It's still here, you stupid idiots. It's late as in dead socialism, you stupid idiots. It's because you're so stupid you don't believe in democracy. You don't believe in free speech. You keep on talking down, hey, we don't really have a democracy. Yeah, we do. It ain't that good, but geez, you're allowed all sorts of stupid free speech, and you're crushing free speech, especially at universities.
I would say, you know, in our democracy it might be weak, but let's make it better, right?
Exactly.
Just strive
right.
to make it better.
So when they yip and yap like that, that's not a new idea. Wake up and smell the coffee, you stupid idiots. Or cocaine or whatever you're snorting. It's a formulation that was done so much better than what you guys do. Oh, we don't really have democracy. What the formulation was, and it was a sound chomp, not a sound bite. It was repeated again and again and again by a guy called Lenin. And I'm not talking about John Lennon. I'm talking about Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov. I think that's what his name was, real name. Sometimes they'll say Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. No. Lenin was just a nickname or code name. And what did he call people who believed in democracy? He didn't, of course. Parliamentary cretins. Parliamentary cretins. And that's what you guys think about people who believe in democracy when you go around saying, we don't really have a democracy. We're as bad as the People's Republic of China or Saudi Arabia.
There are a lot of people in the social sciences, and which, I mean, there's
humanities too.
Yeah, but social sciences, I mean, that's not
they're
science,
the worst,
right?
Yeah.
And